Stephen, how's the squad looking heading into tomorrow's game?
Yeah, okay. Refreshed, ready to go. Looking forward to a home game on a good surface, and getting back to these cup competitions. I've stated they're pre-season games that you must win. They're hiding to nothing. At times you should win. We should have the quality to win, which we normally do. But you're still building your team. I'm still trying to find out the best 11, your best system that fits in. I'm still trying to sign players, as all clubs are. So it's this stage of the season where you're trying to find out who's ready to go, as I say, and who's hitting top form, who needs a little bit of rest, or who needs some extra stuff. So it's all building up to the league start, and obviously it being a cup competition, you're trying to win these so-called pre-season games at the same time.
Now that you've had those couple of competitive games under your belt, have you seen sort of progress over the last week and how the squad are developing for this season?
We certainly can play better. Well, let's not make no bones about it. The squad know that. I know that. When you're the team that's got to take the game to the opposition, which we've had to do in the last two games, you need to be bright. You know, we've not been as bright as we should be, and we will get better, of course. And listen, that'll come now with game time. As I say, a home game on Saturday, a chance to play on a really good surface. Again, a chance to give different people minutes as well. You know, so the team's not settled, the system's not settled. It's about getting as many minutes and winning these games as possible, and trying to progress, and then ultimately being ready to go for the first game of the season.
What's the latest on Jamaro Calvin? He had his work permit hearing yesterday.
Yeah, we're hoping we get that completed today or early next week. Jamaro is somebody we've liked for a long time. Again, we've got good connections with Cavalier in Jamaica, who won the league in Jamaica and are producing a lot of really, really good, fast, quality players. And Jamaro is somebody that we liked. He got a young player the Concave tournament as well, so he adds something different, real pace and energy in the wide areas or through the middle. And we're just waiting for paperwork now. So nothing's done until it's done in football, but we're hopeful that can get done in the next 2 or 3 days.
Are those kind of different avenues and markets something that the club are specifically looking into? Like obviously seeing Richard joining as well, possibly Jamaro coming from the same club.
We have to. We've got no choice. To compete now with the money in Scottish football, the money in even non-league football in England is incredible. So for us to compete, we have to have diverse markets. We have to look elsewhere. We went into Australia, one of the first clubs to maybe go in and get 2 players. Now everybody's doing that, and that market's now out of our league now as well to an extent. So we have to continue to be clever with it. It's something that the Jamaican market and the market over there is something we've looked at for a little while now. You have to do your due diligence, and the 2 players that really stood out for us were Jamaro and Richard. And hopefully we can get Jamaro in and again try and be a little bit inventive with our signings, trying to sign pace and energy that I believe hurts teams in Scotland.
I'm quite interested in the logistics of all that, Stephen, looking at different markets. Who's kind of responsible for that? Is that you? Was it Martin Foyle? Is it now new Chief Scout John Park? How does it all work?
Yeah, myself and Martin were aware of Richard through my agent, actually. My agent Phil Lacano's got a lot of good contacts out there. So it was Phil that alerted us to Richard first of all. We didn't do it in January. We just felt at that stage we weren't doing particularly well, and it was a little bit of a risk. We wanted to make sure it was a little bit more of a solid signing, so to speak, that we knew lots about. But in between times, we've done a lot more research. Got a lot more feedback from Steve McLaren and Paul Simpson, 2 guys that have managed at the top end of the game, and then grew that relationship with Rudolph Speed, the owner of Cavalier and the coach at Cavalier, who's done a fantastic job as well. And that's what you have to do, and then you try and cherry pick the very best players and build up relationships with them clubs. We're doing it at the lower end in terms of our agreements with Dumbarton and Clydebank, and we'll try and do that with other clubs in the league. And you have to try and do that. You have to be diverse, and you have to come up with some new things.
Yeah, Steve McLaren, I was reading, he's, in terms of a referee, his reference is glowing in terms of Richard.
Yeah, in terms of both of them, it's something that the hearing yesterday. Steve has given his view on Jamaro as well, and Richard, and he's been very, very vocal about where he thinks Richard can play and where he can go to. I will temper expectations a little bit of this will be new to Richard. The game, the pace of the game, the physicality of the game may be slightly different, but certainly he's got all the raw ingredients and raw attributes to be very successful. And Gilmaro is a young boy, probably a little bit further behind Richard, but we see a lot of real potential if we can get him over the line.
And could you just talk a wee bit more about this kind of partnership you've now got with Clydebank and Dumbarton?
I think it's really good. We run with a really small squad, so people like Tam and Carrick and Evan Mooney and Callum Penman, Fraser Taylor, them boys are all part of our squad. So as a manager, you're a little bit reluctant to let them go out because it leaves you extremely short. But with this new agreement, it's very good. The club don't pay any money for them that are taking them, but we can take them back at any stage. So it's a little bit of, the club need to take a bit of a hit financially, a small hit financially, because the boys are not on fantastic money, to allow them to develop and also to be allowed to call back at any stage. So I think it's a really good move from the Scottish FA. They get enough criticism for almost everything, so that has to be credited and praised. And as I say, the clubs, and Keith deserves a real mention as well. He's worked really, really hard on getting those partnerships in place. And we hope to do further ones. We hope to do one in League One and one in the Championship as well. And that for me is the best way to develop young players.
So under that, they can move kind of freely between the three clubs?
Well, they can move freely. Obviously, we can call Tam back any stage we want from Dumbarton to play in the first team. He can sit on the bench for us and play for Dumbarton on a Tuesday night as well. So it's a really good agreement that is flexible. It's beneficial to the club that takes him because they don't pay any money for him, and they get a really good young player. And it's beneficial to us because they're playing matches at good levels in competitive games, and they're also able to train with us and be brought back at any stage, which I think is a good move forward.
Quite innovative.
Yeah, very. As I say, Scottish people doesn't get. We criticise everything in life. We can't wait to throw people under the bus. So I think the Scottish FA deserve a lot of credit for that. I think there is a few other countries that are doing it, but fair play to them for doing that, and I think it'll be a big success.
I want to go back to the point you mentioned about trying to get ahead of the curve on markets, and I guess how difficult is that, trying to stay ahead of that curve when that must be ever shrinking? You mentioned Australia, now League One and League Two in England is pricing out a lot of clubs in Scotland. How hard is it to keep finding these new markets?
Yeah, it is. They're running out, if the truth be told. That market in Jamaica, they're producing a lot of good players. A lot of kids that go to America playing the MLS as well. So it's a market that we've looked at closely from January. As I said, unknown to me, it was my agent that put me into that market. We've managed to get hopefully 2 players out of it. But even markets like Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland, it's difficult now because them teams in Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland are paying equal money that we're paying and more. So it's hard to stay ahead of it, but we have to. We have no choice because we don't have millionaire backers. We don't have somebody that's waving a magic wand. So we buy a player with potential and good attributes, and we try and develop them. And I made this point that we've lost 5 of our starting lineup. And them boys have gone on £6,000 and £7,000 a week when they come in here on £600 and £700. So we're not replacing them with like for like. We're replacing them right back at the start of the cycle again with Gilmaro and Richard, where Richard Taylor developed. He's now on a heck of a lot of money at a big club at Bolton. Caelan Boyd wants to see him, and we now are at the back of this cycle again where we have to develop those players, and it takes time and it takes patience.
I wonder, the players you mentioned there, Olisanya as well, can you use them? Do they make your job easier to sell this club to players who still have that development and show them, look, this is the path you can take at St Mirren?
It's been a big selling point. If you put Ryan Alabusi in this as well, who's just signed for Blackburn. Ryan didn't have a club, nobody overly wanted him, and we've given him a platform. The coaching staff here and playing staff here have really boosted Ryan's career, as of course he has done himself with his performances, and he's now got a super move and maybe life-changing money as well. The same with Toy, when Toy came in from non-league, struggled, worked ever so hard and got a fantastic move to the MLS. So it's now got a reputation as a football club that develop players. It wasn't before we came in 3.5 years ago. The profile has been raised with the top 6 finishes, and that is attractive to people now. It is more attractive to boys from England. We've got a fantastic press officer in James who's standing next to me, and Lewis, who market the club brilliantly through their media, and we're trying to grow the club in every direction that we can.
And I wonder if we go back to your first answer, you described the Premier Sports Cup as a hiding to nothing. How difficult is it to balance the expectation of fans who will remember winning this League Cup not that long ago and how big a time that was for the club, and trying to get your squad ready for the Premiership? How hard is that balance?
Well, it's quite easy. You have to win the games because people don't take anything less. The expectations that high now. So yeah, we were very disappointed with our growth. We said that as a collective. We won the game at Forfar and we would be much better than how we showed. And you have to find a way to win games. But also, I'm brave enough and have enough belief in my ability and the squad's ability that we will chop and change the team and we will try and get everybody minutes because we don't have another opportunity to do this, and be brave with our decision making.
Peter Erminski has been playing. I saw him against Dumbarton, but I haven't been at the other matches. Confident he'll be the number one, and how's he performed in those?
Peter's performed well. We're still looking. Ryan was ill during the week. Ryan was due to play on Tuesday night, so he was ill. So Ryan will play on Saturday. And we're still looking. You know, we know Peter needs games. We believe he needs to go out and maybe get 30-40 games. If it's not here, then we will be certainly looking at a loan deal if he's not going to be the number one goalkeeper here. But as I just alluded to in the previous answer, this is what these games are for. They're to see where we are. We don't have a never-ending stream of money, so if we have something in the building, we have to make sure that we're not looking beyond it before we give him a chance, and we're giving him that opportunity. And I'll make my mind up whether I can get somebody, and they have to be better than what we've got in the building, to go as a number one, or whether we run with Peter in the coming weeks.
I'm just interested, we were talking about recruitment, I don't want to go back to that and bore you, but John Park coming on board, I mean, that looks like, to me, a major coup.
Yeah, I've not worked with John before. Obviously it was a huge blow, Martin leaving. He wanted some pastures new. So he's a very good friend of mine as well. I still speak to him every day, so that was different for me, getting to work with somebody else. But John's been great. He's a really nice guy, and he's got a multitude of contacts. His record speaks for itself in the game. So really looking forward to working with him. And John will get to know how I work as well. I get to know when I'm in a bad mood and in a good mood, and yeah, look, he's fitted in really, really well. He's fitted in with all the staff, and looking forward to building that relationship.